Hi everyone, it's Derek here with GamerBody, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Spartan Race Beast and my experience. So let's jump right into the video. Alright, so I'm doing the Spartan Race Beast in order to get what's called the Spartan Trifecta medal. So far I have two of them. Here is the Super I did. So you can see that this is the Super medal that I did back in January, and then I also have the Beast that I got yesterday, May 18th, 2019, for completing the Spartan Beast. Now, in order to complete the set, I have to do one more race, which is the Spartan Sprint, or the red color one of these medals. So once I get that one, I'll have all three pieces, and they magnetically sync together. That means I'll have one that looks like this, made of three of these separate pieces. So the Spartan Race Beast was located in Snow Summit Ski Resort in Big Bear. This race is 13 miles long with 30 obstacles, and the starting temperature for the race was 55 degrees. My wrist starting time was 10:45 a.m., but my actual race didn't start until 10:52 p.m., which is actually when I started clocking my time on my Fitbit. And the total completed time for the course for me was 6 hours, 14 minutes, and 4 seconds. This, of course, is my unofficial time, as it's the one I'm going off of with my Fitbit Charge 3. So for completing the race, you get a couple items. So the first one you get is this medal, the Spartan Super Beast medal that comes in green. This is the one for 2019. You also get this t-shirt, so this is the one you get for completing the race. I have a similar one for the Super that's in blue, but the Beast colors are green, so this is the green version. And it also says Beast on it. You'll also be given a free beer token voucher at the beginning, which you wear on your wrist, and once you're done, they cut it off and give you a free beer. And then as some smaller things, when you finish, there's a whole line of vendors, and they give you things like bananas, drinks, and other like protein bars and stuff like that, so you can eat them post-race. So let's quickly go over the equipment I used for the Spartan Race Beast. So the first one is that I wore my Spartan Race Super shirt, so again, it's this one, but with the blue colors, and it says Super on it, but that's the shirt I wore. I also just wore a normal pair of running shorts. They were just Nike running shorts that I wore for the entire race. I also bought a pair of red New Balance training shoes. So these ones had a little more grip on the bottom of them. And they're also very light and were about $65, but they worked great for this race. And then lastly, I used my Fitbit Charge 3 here to track the race. I was not carrying my phone throughout this race, so I couldn't use the GPS on it, but I was able to at least track the time of my race on here. It does become a pedometer, but the pedometer is not very accurate, as it said we went something like 16 miles when I really only went about 13. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my experience with the race overall. So right from the get-go, you start just running straight uphill. Again, this is a ski resort, so the hills are pretty steep. So you just, right off the bat, we're running right uphill, up one of the sides, and then you come straight back down the other side. I was not very prepared for this, as I thought it was going to be like maybe going back and forth on a hill or running through woods of some kind like normal. But this was literally just running up the ski trails and back down. Most water stations were located about 1 to 2 miles from each actual obstacle in the race. So it wasn't too bad getting to each one. They weren't that far away, but they were like just far enough to where it felt good to finally get to one. It felt like you were kind of accomplished once you made it to one of the water stations. Overall, throughout the race, the obstacles were pretty standard to what I'm used to. There were only a couple more, so this one had 30 obstacles compared to I think 25 in the Super. So there's only a few different ones, which were kind of nice to have. But overall, it felt like I was doing the same kind of course, just with a different location. However, what made this course unique is because it was on a ski resort. This is the first race course I've ever had to walk about 95% of the time. And this wasn't just me walking this much. This was majority of the people had to walk the entire thing, except for the very elite runners that went before everybody else. So going up the hill, I would go about 50 to 100 yards before I had to take a break for about 1 to 2 minutes and then keep going until I reached the top. However, going downhill, you had to watch out that you weren't going too fast, because you would either have to kind of jog down and make sure you controlled how you were going down, or you'd slowly go down to make sure you didn't just skip and like just roll all the way down these hills. These are very steep hills, as they are meant for skiing in the winter, so these are not like your normal just gradual hills. These are very steep. Throughout the race, many people I talked to and many people I saw on the racetrack either had one of two things happen, or even both. They got really bad cramps, especially in the calves and quads and hamstrings, or they twisted an ankle. Looking at how this race is designed, I'm not surprised at all, because the average person, in my opinion, should not ever be doing this racetrack. So most people aren't used to this kind of training where you're going up really steep hills using most of your calf strength to just stabilize yourself going up it. And again, we're just walking, and then going downhill, you're trying to use your quads to protect from falling forward too fast. Because most people don't train like this leads to a lot of fatigue in those muscles, especially when you're doing it for 5 to 6 hours. So by doing that, you're going to have cramps in those muscles because they're just not able to withstand that kind of force for that amount of time. This is the reason I would probably never do this racetrack again unless I actually train for it in the future. One really cool thing that happened though is that about mile 4, I actually had to lay down and start to nurse what was an oncoming cramp that I could feel. So I was kind of just nursing my quad. Some guy came over to me and actually offered me mustard, which was interesting, and goo in order to give me some calories to continue with the race. Now, mustard was a new one for me. I'd never heard about that before, but it actually worked wonders. I had both of them, and I never got a single instance of a cramp for the whole rest of the run. So in all of the obstacles that I did, there were only 3 I did not complete. So the very first one being monkey bar swings, where you're holding onto actually really thick bars that you have to swing just across on. The problem was that I was so tired getting up the first time that when I tried to do them, I got about 3/4 of the way and then my grip strength just gave out. The second one I failed on was the 4th to last obstacle, which is the very heavy tire flip. Now, I'm not quite sure what the actual weight of them are, but there's 2 different ones, the men and the women's. But just for the men's, because it's the only one I've ever tried, is extremely difficult to flip. Being that it was at the very end of the race, I was about to do it. I tried to lift it up, but as soon as I did it, I just said, nope, I don't want to hurt my back. Way too tired to do this, and just did the burpees instead. And the last one I skipped was more because I didn't want to get any mud in my eyes. There's only one mud obstacle, and it was when you went under a mud thing, so you actually had to duck your head under, come out the other side, and then run and jump up a mud wall and climb up a rope. But I did not go under the wall because when you come out of it, you have mud all over your face, and in the Spartan race sprint I did in 2018, I got them in my eyes and I had to have someone like spray it out with water. I didn't want that to happen again, so I just skipped it and did the burpees instead. Now thinking about this, I probably should invest in some goggles for my next race so I don't have to deal with that anymore. And my last experience with this is that they put almost all of the obstacles at the very end of the race. Now this seems to be pretty standard for Spartan races, but doing so kind of makes like 75% of the race just monotonous and boring to me, especially when you're just going up and down hills over and over again and you're just exhausted. It also opens up a lot of room for injury because you're so fatigued going into the heavy either lifting or like pulling yourself up ropes and stuff that it just opens you up to injury as you don't have the proper strength and form to do them at that point. So looking at this race, it is 100 times harder than any of the other 2 I've done. And I know a lot of people said that this Beast one in particular is the hardest of all of them, but this was just like 100+ times harder than the other 2 races I did. I also don't plan on ever doing this racetrack again unless I actually start running up mountains or something, as the risk of injury is very, very high on this track. So that's about it with my experience and the Spartan Race Beast. I hope you like it. This was, again, a very, very difficult track to complete, but I did it, so I only now need 1 more medal in order to get the Trifecta for 2019. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this one, and please leave any comments and questions below. If you'd like to see my current training program, which you can do at home or a gym, please head over to GamerBody.com and opt into the newsletter. There you'll be taken to a page that has my exact program that I do update quite frequently, and you can go and check it out and follow along with exactly what I'm doing. Alright, that is it, so I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Be fit and game on.